Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. It is Wednesday. That means we bring on the legend, Matt, the mortgage guy. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I guess I'm a legend now. You
Yeah,
just
well,
crowned me.
you're a legend in my book. That's all that matters.
Cool.
Well, hey, one of the things I wanted to talk about here is inflation, right? Inflation is getting a lot of talk, hyperinflation, all of these things. There's a couple of things that I need people to realize. First and foremost, inflation hits everyone, whether you're Warren Buffett or Matt, the mortgage guy. It impacts you. You all fill up your gas tank. You all buy food. You all buy clothes. It's everywhere. But the next thing to realize is inflation actually could become in multiple forms, right? So I thought we would talk about it because you may not appreciate it if you're going to the store and maybe you're like me. One of the first things I saw, Matt, is I happen to like a boring cereal called Cheerios. So what I saw about 9 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, is my box got a hell of a lot smaller and it was the same price. So folks, that is a form of inflation called shrinkflation. Have you seen that out, Matt?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And like, we'll talk about the different forms of inflation. Like you pay the same price and you're like, oh, it's the same price. If you get less for it,
yeah, it's not good.
Right. That's a form of inflation, right? And I think we talked about it last week, skimpflation.
That's the next one. Yeah. So tell me about that.
Yeah, I'll give you a prime example. This past weekend, me and my family went to Disneyland. Okay. And it was Disneyland and California Adventure Friday. It was Knott's Berry Farm on Saturday, and it was back to Disneyland and California Adventure on Sunday.
Oh my God, my feet hurt already.
Oh my gosh, I think Sunday was 24,000 steps or something.
Oh, oh my God.
It was a lot of walking, some of it with a 60-pound 8-year-old on my shoulders. So it was extra. But me and my brother-in-law standing in line for a simple little kiddos ride. I've got an 8-year-old and his youngest is 7. And there's one person manning the ride, right? So he's got to get everyone on, get everybody strapped in. When he stops it, he's got to get everybody off. Then he's got to go back to the front line. I know for a fact that this is something that normally has 2 or 3 people employed working it, right?
Yeah.
And so we don't wait 30 minutes, we wait 12, right? And so I'm paying the same to get in the park. And so people would say this is an inflation, but I'm waiting 2.5 times longer to ride because
every ride,
whether it's an employment issue or whether it's, whatever it is, right? It's a form of skimpflation where I'm getting skimped on the value I'm receiving. And like restaurants you go to, anywhere you go to, you're going to see skimpflation where you might pay the same price, but you're going to get less service or value for that price.
Yeah. So again, folks, inflation can come in lots of areas. The media is talking about prices. That's what they do. But you can also get shrinkflation. And now there's a new one that I had not heard about, skimpflation. And I had an experience just the other day. We went, one of the things Olivia and I like to do is go eat out. We have, I don't know, 20 restaurants that we hit like on rotation, it seems like. And one of them is a Mexican restaurant down the street. And, we used to get in and out in like 30, 35 minutes. This one took an hour, and it was all because they had less cooks, chefs, and less, there used to be 7 people manning this, because we go at the same time. We go when not everybody's there, right? And now there was 3 people. There was like one greeter, one waitress, one.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're running a business and there's employment issues, or your supplies cost more, like it's inevitable. Things are going to cost more for the consumer. If it's an employee issue, then, it might not cost more, but you're going to have less employees to serve. And so, service is going to,
they got to make their money somewhere, and maybe it's less hours, right? They just have less people, and, hey, instead of 35 minutes, now it's an hour and 15.
Right.
Yeah. So again, inflation's real. I think the wage inflation is a big deal. And the thing about inflation is we've had 2 decades. We've had the 40s and 70s, and it's not quick. This whole transitory thing is a joke. It's going to be going on for years. So buckle up, get ready. And something I like to say is I use inflation. Nobody gets away from inflation, but you can use inflation to get rich. And obviously that's with fixed rate mortgages and buying rental properties at cash flow. So
real assets. Yeah. I got a contrarian thing to throw at you. Just because, I think you're similar in like, I'm trying to listen to everybody. I'm trying to listen to people I agree with, people I don't necessarily agree with. And so, everything about everything I see every day. It's like inflation is here. Inflation is here to stay. You know, my gas is more expensive, eggs and meat and everything is more expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Smart people that I don't necessarily agree with have talked about, you know, inflation could be, you know, transitory. That's the favorite word to use.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And my question, you know, thinking out loud and maybe asking you is like, can technology kind of quell some of this oncoming inflation?
Yeah, for sure. There's lots of folks that are talking about it. Kathy Wood being the one that talks about it the most. There's often quoted. Kathy Wood is famous for saying we don't have an inflation problem, we have a deflation problem, which is kind of hard for people to wrap their head around just given what they see every day, right? And she's obviously one that's betting on technology to quell this. So the answer is yeah. I mean, I truly believe that technology will eventually quell this. Where I think Kathy is at least wrong, in my opinion, is the time frame, right? Kathy, as near as I can tell, is calling for deflation next year. I've sold technology for 30 years. Even the best technology doesn't take off that fast.
Yeah.
Right. So talk about robots flipping hamburgers or making your lattes or whatever it is. You see these cute videos, they don't scale, they're not manageable, but they eventually will be. So again, I think wage inflation is real. I think we've got years of it in front of us, but eventually we will have wage inflation will eventually cause small businesses to shut down. Then that will cause innovations and people will come out and figure out how to run a restaurant with 3 people instead of 7. I think it's 4 or 5 years away. Kathy thinks it's 12 months away. So yes, technology can and will likely disinflate what's going on. I just don't think it happens as fast as she sees it.
Right. Won't be fast enough. Cool. Good stuff to watch.
Yep. Thank you, buddy. Well, this has been a lot of fun. How can people reach out to you if they want to use inflation to get rich?
Go to greatmortgagebroker.com, fill that out. You know, no matter where you're at in the country, we're happy to help. And happy to have conversations to help you beat inflation by buying real assets or you know, leveraging the current
that cash flow day one.
Right.
Don't be Zillow and bet on appreciation. Don't do that.
Right. Yeah. Well, if you do a better job than Zillow.
Yeah. No kidding. Thanks, bud.